Hi, I want to talk about eating when we're stressed. And if anybody has a reason to eat when they're stressed, it's us. When people hear my story, they constantly ask me, how are you handling this? How do you survive this? And I know a lot of people think it's hokey when I say it's Jesus. But actually, that's what took me away from my wicked depressions that put me into perpetual sleeping, trying to sleep myself to death years ago. And I'm not going to talk about theological rationales or homiletics or any of those words sometimes I don't get and we don't get. I'm just going to talk about how we respond to stress because this week in particular has been probably one of the worst in my life. It's been very stressful by what's happening to one of my adult children that I have no control over. And by the way, it's totally unfair what's happening to him. So, eat we could do. We could easily be tempted to shove food in our face. And yes, I still have non keto food in my house because I have a 9-year old that's not keto friendly at this point in her life. But I choose not to put the food in my mouth because I do realize after I stuff my face with something I'm not supposed to have, the direct result is inflammation in my body, my joints hurting, and also my stomach bloated, and the next day, of course, exploding. And so I'm really not willing to risk it. So I've learned to deal with stress in different ways. And yes, I make myself ride my bike. And I know a lot of people think, wow, look at her. She's riding 23 miles. She's riding 21 miles. Well, the fact is, it's stress relief. It helps me to deal with the stress. In the last couple days, all I wanted to do was to revert back to sleeping, to curl up in a corner and ignore life. But I didn't. I continued to keto up and keto on. And today, as I watched a young friend eat a whole pile of candy bars that this person knew weren't good for him, I knew there was stress behind the stuff. When we're stuffing things like miniature wicked candy bars, there's something going on deep internally inside of us. And so, if you're unable to stop the stuffing, and I see it as trying to stuff down something that's really bothering you, then I hope you get that resolved. And I'm not going to preach at you because it's not my job. But all I have to say is, in the end, when it's all said and done, I didn't have to stuff food this week. And like I said, this was the worst week, I think, in our lives. And that includes losing my adult daughter almost 9 years ago. So in the meantime, I know this was kind of heavy and it wasn't as cut up Kara as I usually am. But get out there and keto up. And if you have issues, figure out how to deal with them so you don't kill yourself with food and calories or carbs, more like